First, I would like to know if I'm talking to the right person.
None of your business. Without paying any further attention to the man, the head of the Immigration and Asylum Committee starts rattling off formalities. But only after 3 sentences, the man interrupts her and says, "I don't care what you're about to do, just go to hell. There's nothing else I have to say to you, just go to hell." Since April 9th, 2013, the man in question has been serving a prison sentence in a Canadian maximum security prison that is so long as if he had killed someone. The weird thing is that no one knows who this man is. When he traveled to Canada on October 29th, 2012 and presented his passport at the airport, it said his name was Fancam. He said that he had been to Canada before, about 6 months ago, and that he was coming back that day because a friend's sister had passed away. The airport staff stamped his passport as a normal arrival and gave him a 10-day visa. Investigation later uncovered that he checked into a Days Inn with $3,000 to his name and a return ticket in his pocket. The reason why he was arrested was because he was part of a very complex $400,000 scheme. When the victims realized what was happening, they notified the police right away. The police knew the name, but they assumed that since the person only had a visa for 10 days, and the name was not on any registries of local hotels, that he had long taken off. But on April 9th they found him. He had checked into a hotel under a different name. When he got arrested, he stated that he had his ID card in his apartment in Montreal. This is why he wasn't just arrested for fraud, but also impersonation. And because he wasn't a Canadian citizen, the Canada Border Service Agency was notified to make sure that the man was deported to France as soon as possible, where he was supposed to face charges. But at his first hearing on August 22, 2013, he repeated the same statement that he had made during his admittance to Canada: "I am French, but I work in England." He also insisted on going to court in Canada, not in France. And because he refused to cooperate with the judicial process, the entire thing turned into a long drawn-out issue, with hearing after hearing, that Emmanuel had to face in court, only to state time and time again that he was not willing to reveal anything about himself or his job. At one point, he no longer wanted to attend the Canadian Border Service hearings and refused any communication. Since 2017, he has missed a total number of over 51 hearings. The only thing he continued to say was that he wanted a meeting with the French diplomat, but when given the opportunity on 2 separate occasions, he refused to speak with them. At some point, the Canadian police were informed by French authorities that the man named Emmanuel Fancam had committed fraud there on numerous occasions under different pseudonyms and identities. His birth certificate was also supposed to have been forged. So the Canadian authorities realized that their inmate was probably the same Emmanuel Fancam, who had also done lots of damage in France, but they also knew that it wasn't his real name. This didn't make the hearings and court proceedings any easier. In fact, the speculations surrounding this mysterious man became wilder and wilder. In 2014, the Canadian police came to the conclusion that the man was from Cameroon. In 2015, they hired an investigator with a unique skill set who had solved a similar case involving a man from Cameroon back in 2010. But this investigation didn't turn up anything. In 2016, they were contacted by the police from Cameroon. They stated that they knew the unknown man. According to them, he was an apparel sales rep who had migrated to Great Britain. The policeman showed around a picture at the unknown man's former place of employment and found out a possible name: Buon Emmanuel Febile. British police compared Febile's fingerprints from their database with those of the man who has now been held there for more than 3 years. And don't you know it, there was a match. But what makes the case even weirder is the fact that there wasn't just one match, there were 4. His fingerprints also matched with a man from Cameroon, one from Haiti, and another one whose origin was unknown. This is why it was decided not to pursue this lead any further. Throughout the next few years, there were additional leads that were supposed to shed some light on the man's identity. But ultimately all they did was to make the waters even murkier. In 2018, there was the first real sign of progress in this mysterious case. The accused decided to take a lawyer, nothing more, nothing less, but neither of them, not the lawyer, not the defendant, made any type of statement on his identity. So Emmanuel's identity remains a secret. There are several theories, all of which have something in common. They are not based on facts, just speculation. One theory is that he screwed over a powerful cartel or criminal organization, which is why he would rather live out his life behind bars than out on the street, where he would have to look over his shoulder constantly to make sure that some contract killer isn't trying to take him out. Others believe that he committed worse crimes in other countries, which is why they are looking for him there under his correct name. That is supposedly the reason why he remains tight-lipped about his true identity, doesn't reveal his name, and hopes that he will be set free at some point. Otherwise he could potentially be extradited to a country that has the death penalty, or that would give him a life sentence for committing a crime that is even worse. There's yet another theory driven by the first two, which replaces a country's death penalty or a cartel with a single powerful private person that wants to see him dead. Maybe he was on the run from this person when he came to Canada in the first place. The last theory, which is also not too far-fetched, says that he would rather live in a Canadian prison than in the supposed country he came from, namely Cameroon. But the speculations don't end here. Some people claim that he took up so many different identities throughout his lifetime that he forgot which one was the right one. Though in my opinion this sounds like a Hollywood script rather than reality. And then of course there's that one theory that can't be missing here of him being a time traveler. He is not allowed to reveal his identity or how he got here to avoid causing devastating consequences to humankind. Personally, I believe in the unspectacular theory that the ominous man is really someone who comes from Cameroon, a third world country in which not every birth is documented and there are no databases like in Germany, Canada or anywhere else. And because of this fact he found himself in a dilemma. No matter what he would say, nobody would believe him, since no information he would be able to provide would be verifiable. And this brings us to the end of today's video. Unfortunately there isn't much more information about this case out there, but I still found it refreshing that we were talking about a mystery rather than a cold-blooded murder for a change. If you liked the video, please leave a comment and subscribe. Thank you in advance. Have a good night and see you next time.